Welcome, I'm Dr. Megan Benavides. I study how privilege and oppression move through educational systems. How in the world did I, this white snowflake, get into this area of study and dedicate my life to understanding this? I was born and raised in the very white suburbs outside of Detroit, Michigan. I then became even possibly more sheltered by going to an all-girls Catholic college in Notre Dame, Indiana, where I studied elementary education. It may be hard to believe this now, but in 2013, it was very hard to get a teaching job. So I applied everywhere. I ultimately got a job in Alexandria, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. I taught an extremely diverse classroom with students who were from all around the world, mostly immigrants and refugees from Africa, Southeast Asia, Central America, etc. And many of them had had really difficult lives and journeys to get to the United States. In some ways, I was aware of my privilege, and I wanted to help those who had less than I did. I really cannot overstate that what I saw and experienced as a first-year teacher changed my entire life. Around the same time, I met my now husband, who is Latino, who helped me understand my place further in the world and the different systems of advantage and disadvantage. In 2016, I was working in a higher income school because I was getting my master's degree in Spanish linguistics and literature, and I thought it would be easier to teach in a higher income environment. That was a lie. Anyone who thinks that teachers have it easier somewhere else is a complete myth. Every teacher everywhere has it hard. As much as my first year teaching experiences challenged my understanding of the diversity of the world, my fifth year teaching really helped me understand the systems of oppression that restrict the growth of some of these groups. It was a series of things that happened that were shifting the way racial dynamics were being talked about in my classroom. I had things that students were saying in my classroom that if they happened in an adult workplace, those individuals would be fired and it would be labeled a hate crime. But because it was happening amongst 10-year-olds, my principal and vice principal literally refused to even contact the parents and told me to deal with it myself. So if you're not familiar with how the end of medical school works, basically you apply to work in a bunch of different places all around the United States. It's a very long, expensive process, but in the end you get an envelope that you open up at a very specific time on a very specific day, and you have to go there. That's right, after studying 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of medical school, with step 1, step 2, the MCAT, all of these things in between, your end prize is that you get to be paid about $62,000, move all the way across the country, and you get no choice or say in where you live. So I, as the spouse, had to follow. So I might talk more about Colorado in the future. It is not Pueblo's fault. I love Pueblo. It is one of my favorite places in the whole world. But someone in an ivory tower in Denver, Colorado, made our lives extremely difficult. Basically held my husband accountable for something that no one else in the program was held accountable for and wasn't able to start. We had text messages, we had emails showing that discrimination had taken place. Even with a lawyer, even with proof, we had to make a choice. Did my husband want to continue being a doctor and apply somewhere else next year? Or did he want to take the next 5 years of our lives suing a healthcare system and maybe winning? Yeah, so he chose to stay in the medical profession. So then, of course, the pandemic happens, 2020, and I'm teaching like this online, and we match to go to Seattle. So once again, we pack up our lives and we move. My husband served on the front lines of the pandemic, and he unfortunately got very sick. I will talk about this more later, probably, but it is still kind of raw and something I'm still processing. The healthcare system didn't support us, and we were just racking up more and more medical bills, which led us to move to where we are now, which is in Costa Rica. Obviously, my life plan has shifted a lot in ways that I couldn't control. I thought when I first started teaching that I would be a teacher forever. When I left for Colorado, I thought I would never be teaching again, and I thought I would just work on my Teachers Pay Teachers store and figure things out. Then I moved to Seattle and began my doctorate program. So I had all of these questions that I felt like I needed answered, and I wanted to be a part of changing those systems. Unfortunately, because of our medical situation, we now live in Costa Rica, where I'm not really able to use any of these skills to change systems in any way. So that's why I'm talking to you all on social media, because this is the platform that God has given me right now, and I'm going to use it.